So yes, I'm Nancy from Nancy Inspired. I don't do divination, but I can tell you what your soul's trying to tell you. When I'm doing it as a collective like this, I tap into what is the most important common knowledge that is needed for everybody here. Do the first 45 minutes or so to as a collective for everybody, and then the last bit I take individuals. Don't put your name in yet for individuals because it'll get lost in the chat. I'll let you know when it's time to do that. Feel free to comment, add comments in the chat, talk to each other in the chat. That's great. I often don't pay attention to the chat until kind of moments as we go along, just because I'm hearing the messages and I let you know what I'm hearing. So I've already done a clearing for myself, but I'm going to add just an extra little clearing because there's been a little bit of busyness today. So if you want to join me, I'm just going to hold the pendulum and we're going to let it spin counterclockwise. We can just take some deep breaths together and cleanse, clear, and balance our hearts, our minds, our bodies, and our spirits on all levels for our highest and best good. That feels good. I picture a white light swirling around counterclockwise, and as it swirls around me, around you, it just sort of cuts away, pulls out, cleans out anything that doesn't serve you, anything that doesn't serve me at this moment in time. And we ask to cleanse, clear, and balance our hearts, our minds, our bodies, and our spirits on all levels for our highest and best good. Just take another couple deep breaths here together. Cleanse, clear, and balance our hearts, our minds, our bodies, and our spirits on all levels for our highest and best good. All right, I don't know if it's because I'm working with the group as well as myself, but it's taking a little longer than it normally does. Could just be me and my own chaotic energy. All right. Now, as the pendulum shifts, I'm just going to ask that my intuition be raised to the highest level that I can accommodate with this moment in time. All right. So now I ask permission to connect to you. So can I, may, and shall I do a live collective reading for my Insight Timer friends and family, both those that are listening now and those that listen later? Clear yes. Is there any reason why I shouldn't? Nope, no reason why I shouldn't. So then I ask that everyone's intuition be raised to the highest level that they can accommodate with at this moment in time. Allow their souls to speak freely and clearly for everyone's highest and best good. All right. We're ready to begin. All right. I'm calm and clear again. A little sip of water. All right. Here we go. I'm just going to tap in. First bit of messaging for my friends today. Okay. So happening in the root chakra. All right. So what I'm hearing, and I think maybe I'm hijacking this, but it's important. So what I'm hearing is no matter where you are, no matter what's going on, no matter what's happening, you can always ground down into your sense of being. So even if you are being uprooted, even if you're in the midst of moving, even if you're, in a busy, chaotic household or work environment or whatever, you can always find your roots because what I'm hearing is that we are always connected. We are part of this planet. We are made of this planet. We are connected to this system at this moment in time. And so at any point in time when you are feeling dysregulated or just you don't feel like you have those roots, at different times in our lives, our roots feel stronger than others. But I'm hearing to remind you that at any given time, you can pause and just feel the roots, feel the connection to where you are, and that can happen no matter what is going on around you. You could be in a busy place, you can be in a chaotic situation. Actually, it's funny, I'm here to tell you a story. I took my granddaughter to see Disney on Ice, a skating show. And there were tons of people and kids and everything everywhere. And there was a moment I was just feeling a little bit overwhelmed with everything, with all the lights and sounds and everything, and trying to navigate snow and whatever. And I just stopped for a minute, and I was waiting because the crowd was kind of moving slowly. So I sort of pulled into an alcove with my granddaughter, and I just stopped and breathed and just was like, okay, take a minute. We're not trying to get anywhere quickly. It's chaotic, but I can stop and I can breathe. And that's what I did. And then I found that it just kind of regulated me, so that getting out and getting back to my car, and even driving home because it was a major snowstorm, I just started to feel a little more grounded. So just a little reminder that no matter where you are and what you're doing, you always have the ability to create roots. And now I'm hearing for some of you that you really are in a time of upheaval. Like you're moving, you're changing jobs, you're, whatever it is that's creating the upheaval. And I'm hearing there's a few of you that this is really connecting for. So if that's you, this is for you. That even in the midst of all that, right? And even if, because there's a few of you of that group that also, some of it has to do with family, and there's a little bit of like distance or even cutting ties or whatever from family. And so you're feeling a little bit that the roots are not solid, the roots are not strong at the moment. But I'm hearing to tell you that there's a lot of different systems that make up our roots, and some of it is our upbringing and our family and our experiences and whatnot. But primarily, it's how we internalize all those things. It's how we connect with all those things. And so at any given moment in time, you have the capability to, drop down some roots and connect to your grounding, whatever that is. So if you're in the midst of a bit of chaos right now, remember to stop and just ground for a moment, and remember your roots, remember your strength, remember where you come from, in terms of your internal self, in terms of that big soul level self. I know I've shared this before, but the messaging that I've received is that we have sort of layers to our souls. We have our sort of skin suit, which is this lifetime, this experience, this pattern of being at this time. And then we have what I like to kind of call that bridge soul, where it's the part of our deeper part that is guiding us. So it's guiding our skin suit into experiences. That's where like maybe our gut feelings are, and we're being led into those experiences. And remember, sometimes the experiences we're led into are the very ones we need to learn from. They're not necessarily all the best experiences. They're maybe all the learning experiences. And then we have a deeper part. We have a deeper part that is our soul, collective consciousness. It's connected to that divine source energy, our soul families. It's a bigger piece of us. The reason why I'm hearing to remind you of that is because when you are feeling ungrounded, when you are feeling like it's hard to find your roots, when you're feeling like maybe your roots are not feeling as strong, and it's tricky to connect, to recognize that deepest layer of soul level is always connected to that divine source, to our collective consciousness, to all of that greater sense of being. So if you're having trouble feeling grounded, if you're having trouble feeling the roots in that connection, dig into that deeper soul level, because even if our skin suit's not feeling very rooted, we have roots in other ways, in other capacities. So hopefully that is helpful. Bit of first messaging, and I'm just I think Nanki, I hope I'm saying that right. I am from Alberta, Canada, so we are in the middle of a snowstorm. Well, it stopped snowing now, but we've got about 20-30 centimeters of snow in the last couple of days, and it is still going to be going on. So all right, that's our first bit of messaging. Let's tap into what's next. What else do I hear for our group today? Ooh, okay. This was in the solar plexus, and I right away felt like this sort of fear, anxiety, kind of like stomach clenching, you know. And what I heard along with it was, don't be afraid of being wrong. It's interesting because as an educator, I'm also a teacher, for those of you who don't know. A lot of times kids are really scared of making mistakes. They almost don't want to try something because they're afraid that they're going to get it wrong, right? They'd rather just not do it at all than get it wrong. And I think about that and how important it is to teach children that our mistakes are an opportunity to learn, to grow, and that it's not so much wrong as learning, right? Even if it doesn't work. And what I'm hearing is, that there's a lot of us that are kind of holding ourselves back for fear of being wrong. And that we all have things to offer, things that, we're kind of being called to do, but there's some hesitation, resistance, procrastination because of that fear of being wrong, of I know I have that. To be honest, every time I come onto a live, I'm like, what if I don't hear anything? What if I'm wrong? What if when I'm doing the individual parts, I'm wrong? And then I think, well, if I am, then I am, right? I'm not wrong that often. So I need to just be confident. But there is a part of me, even still after doing this for many years, is, what if I'm wrong? However, how sad would it be if I didn't try, if I didn't do it because I was afraid I might be wrong, right? And so I'm hearing that don't be afraid to be wrong. If you're holding yourself back because you're afraid that you're going to make a mistake, then it's time to take a deep breath and try anyway, and then recognize that it is a journey, right? That it's more like process over product. We don't have a final destination. Even when we pass from this world, there's still more destinations. So, the entire thing is a journey. So if something doesn't work, it doesn't mean that it was wrong. It doesn't mean that it was, futile. It doesn't mean that it was, a waste of time or whatever. It's what we do with that wrong that makes a difference. And there's a beautiful children's book called Beautiful Oops, and it's just a book about making art, and that sometimes mistakes can become beautiful. And I think that with things as well, everything's a learning experience, and it's okay to be wrong. It's okay to be humble. It's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay. I'm hearing just, to encourage just to do it. If there's things that you are wanting to do, but you're afraid of getting started because you're afraid you're not going to be successful, this is your friendly reminder to get started. Do it. And if it doesn't quite work out the way you planned, well, you can monitor and adjust, or you can try something different. Or maybe there's people you meet along the way in that attempt that allow you to understand what has to happen next, okay? So I'm hearing that loudly, that there's a lot of us here, and I'm putting myself always in this. I am receiving these messages for myself just as much as I'm receiving them for you. Sorry, I'm getting hair up my nose because my cat is shedding. Yeah, if there's something that you're procrastinating on getting started with and moving forward with because you're afraid of doing it wrong, this is your friendly reminder that this is it's time. It's time to take a little leap of faith, give it a try. And I'm hearing that there's a few people that are feeling this message in your stomach. I don't know who this applies to, but that this is in particular for you as well as many. But if you are feeling this resonating in your stomach, there's someone in particular that this is like, I'm supposed to say that too. So if it's you, great. Maybe there's more than one of you, but I'm hearing that they're feeling it in their stomach and it's really resonating. And yes, it's time to not be afraid of the outcome, to take a step. And even in the learning, even if it doesn't work, even in the learning, there's some positive things that will come of it. And yes, focusing on the journey versus the destination. Okay? I think sometimes, even myself, I get caught up in, wanting things to be a certain way instantly. and I get frustrated when things don't quite work out. And then I think, oh, maybe it wasn't supposed to, and da da da. And then I think, oh, wait a minute. By doing that, I actually made this connection and that connection and had this experience and that experience. And really, when I look back on something, I'm like, oh, it wasn't really about that at all. It was about these connections, these experiences, these things. So that's our bit there. Sorry, I got distracted by my cat who is making my hand hold her head up right now. So, not sure what that's about. Yes, Binksy Boy is here with his head on my hand. All right. Next bit of messaging. Binks, I'm going to just have to move a little bit here. All right. Where do I feel it? All right, it's in the heart chakra. What I'm feeling is like a divide, like two areas. Okay. Interesting. I actually did a reading for someone a while back. I can't remember who this was for, but this feels similar. When I do a reading for someone, I really don't remember what happened. Like I'll talk to them like a couple weeks later, and I don't remember what I've said to them during their reading because it's their messaging, not mine. But this feels kind of familiar. So what I'm feeling is that there's sort of like two rooms in the heart center right now. There's like these two rooms, and one is this like busy, crazy, almost like a hospital triage where it's like all these issues and things are coming in and coming at you and all these feelings and emotions and and then I don't know, hopefully you haven't had many experiences heading to the emergency room, but if you have, there's always a triage nurse that I always feel like, man, they've got a hard job because their job is to figure out who's going to wait, at least in our medical system, for a long time, and who's going to get seen right away. And everybody, of course, wants to be seen right away. And so I'm sure that person receives a fair amount of negativity and has to be a little bit objective. And that's what I'm hearing is that we all have two rooms in our hearts. This is an interesting message. And one part is this busy triage of everything coming in at us. All the emotions, all the stresses, all the worries, all the positives, the negatives, like everything that's coming at us. But what I'm hearing is that then there's a deeper part of the heart. There's a deeper room and that's where the experiences we choose to let through get to reside, get to be looked at. And so what I'm hearing is to remind ourselves that we have the choice. We are constantly being bombarded by stuff all the time, emotions, feelings, either things within ourselves and our relationships or things outside of us, in the world, in the news, whatever. We're being bombarded by all of these things, positives and negatives, like challenges and celebrations. And we get to choose what we're going to triage. What are we going to focus on? What are we going to allow in to the deeper part of our hearts, the part that we're going to internalize and connect with and learn and grow? And what I'm hearing is that there's a number of us that are having trouble a little bit with maybe some anxiety, but I don't want to generalize it like that. But the feeling of not knowing what to focus on, like not even knowing what to feel sometimes, because there's this going on, and I don't even know what I feel. And so sometimes we're numbing ourselves, whether it's with, scrolling social media, whether it's, substances, whether it's being busy, whatever it is that we're choosing to numb. We're doing that because we don't know, we haven't triaged properly. Our triage nurse is not doing their job. So what I'm hearing is to take a moment and just kind of visualize or imagine that your heart is almost like that, busy triage, and then the part where things actually get dealt with. and recognize that you have the choice to choose what things are going to go deeper that need to be dealt with and what things maybe will look after themselves and you don't have to be involved in them. I just heard, just like actual emergency rooms, not that I've spent a lot of time in them, if the issue that we're deciding we don't need to deal with right now does become acute, we can always let it in later if we need to. So it's not like we're saying, no, I'm not dealing with that. It's no, I'm choosing what I'm going to spend my time, energy, and resources on right now. And to recognize that you have that ability. So if you are feeling overwhelmed or anxious, or that you're numbing or escaping, remember that you do have an internal triage nurse, and I can picture one in particular. My daughter has some significant illness, so I have spent some time at hospital emergency rooms, and sometimes they're very friendly and nice, and sometimes they're really like, yeah, what's your name? Yeah, go sit down. And I'm thinking, you know what? I'm going to actually almost imagine that my triage nurse is maybe a little more compassionate than that, but really objective. Is this important? Is this something that I really need to get involved with and deal with? And if it is, okay, welcome in. And if it's not, go take a number, go take a seat. Maybe you'll figure yourself out. And so just remember that you have those choices. You don't have to own and get involved and feel like you have to fix everything all at once. On that note, I just heard another little bit of messaging, is we have more time than we think. Now, this is interesting. This is an interesting bit of messaging because I struggle with this. So this is what I'm hearing, not necessarily what I do or feel, but it feels right. We have more time than we think. So I'm always feeling rushed. I'm always feeling like I'm out of time. As you know, I'm often like sitting down to do the live right at the last minute. I'm always feeling rushed. So this is something that I deeply struggle with. But I am hearing we have more time than we think, and that things aren't going to fall apart and the world's not going to end if people have to wait a little bit. So we don't have to jump and be like, fix things right away, make everything perfect right away, answer everybody right away. I think with the advent of cell phones and being available all the time, there's not only the expectation that people feel like they can contact you all the time, but there's also the expectation that if I don't reply right away, or don't do something right away, that the world's going to end or something's going to happen, catastrophic's going to happen. So I'm hearing that we have more time than we realize. This is so hard for me. I'm actually struggling even saying this message because I feel like I'm always short of time. Go sit there for a minute. But I am hearing that there are many times that we are trying to, what's the right word I'm hearing? Placate. By placating others, by trying to accommodate, that we are rushing ourselves, and that there's no harm in just taking a minute to, size it up. Is this something I need to deal with right now? Is this something that can wait a second? Do I need to respond right now at this moment? And I'm hearing a lot of times we don't, and that we kind of stress ourselves out. I'm hearing this. I'm hearing this for myself, that we kind of stress ourselves out by feeling like we have to do everything for everyone at once. And that's not the case. I'm getting an image in my head of a particular teacher that I've worked with. This particular teacher is very methodical, and everything that is done at a very methodical, sort of slow pace. And sometimes I feel when I'm there that I'm like, okay, let's go. But then when I actually look at how engaged and how connected to what's going on the kids are, I'm like, okay, maybe we don't have to go and go. And that's what I'm hearing, is that if you are feeling overwhelmed, back to that kind of triage nurse, we do have more time sometimes than we believe, and it's okay just to say, hold on, I'll get to that in a moment. I will think about that when I have time. I will respond when I have time. I will deal with that when I have time. And it's okay to take your time. That a lot of the things that feel pressing are actually not nearly as pressing. And I'm hearing that that's relevant for lots of us. And I'm going to lump myself into that as well. That a lot of the things we feel are pressing are not nearly as pressing. And that it's okay to make people wait. It's okay to make things wait. There's a difference. You know the difference between making it wait to give yourself time and procrastinating, right? And there's a definite difference between that. All right. Taking a sip of tea while I take a moment. Perfect timing, Carolina. Taking a sip of tea, and I'm going to read your summary. For those of you that are new here, our sweet Carolina does a summary of the messages for us, and she always does such a great job. So message number 1, we can all dig into our soul roots. If or when in turmoil and chaos and challenges, we can dig into those deeper soul level roots, even if everything else feels chaotic. Remember that you have those. Next message was, don't be afraid to be wrong. Yes, don't hold back for fear of being wrong or making a mistake. It's all a journey. What we do with the wrong is what it's about. It's the learning. That's right. Process versus product. Journey versus destination. Perfect. Now, message number 3 was the heart chakra has 2 rooms. One busy emergency room full of emotions, worries, etc. We have another room where we can choose to focus on or what to engage in. When, if, now, like emergency room, prioritize what to dive deeper into and what can maybe take care of itself or wait. We don't have to fix everything ourselves. And we have more time than we think and realize. By accommodating, responding to everyone and everything at once gives us stress, and we don't have to go and go and go. Your own space, time, decisions. Fabulous. Thank you, Carolina. I love how beautifully succinct you do that. And yes, that's exactly it. Those are the messages so far. Let me tap in. What else is going on? All right. So this was in the throat chakra right away. And it goes back to, I know I've mentioned this book numerous times. I think The 4 Agreements was a channeled book, I think, because lots of times the concepts in it are referenced when I'm receiving my messages. But what I'm hearing is, along with that, taking time in terms of what you're going to deal with and what you're triaging and what's important and what's, taking up real estate in your time and energy. What I'm also hearing is it's okay to take time before you respond. So often when we are in conversation, when we are in any kind of reciprocal relationship, and communication of any sort is happening, sometimes we feel like we have to immediately respond. And what I'm hearing is it's also okay to take your time responding. That sometimes by taking a breath and allowing the question to actually sit and resonate with you, you can then connect not just to what you really want and need, but you can also have an opportunity to connect to that higher wisdom, that part of yourself that is connected to divine consciousness, that is connected to what your soul evolution is, what your next steps actually are. And so sometimes if you just stop and take a breath before responding, give yourself time to think before responding to something, you will actually not only have the ability to connect to yourself and recognize your own thought process, boundaries, and whatnot, but it'll also allow you to connect to that higher self. Because I'm hearing that higher self is communicating with us all the time. That higher self is guiding us all the time. But we need to learn how to hear it. We need to learn how to feel it. We need to learn how to see it. However that higher knowledge communicates with us. We all have that ability. Every single person has the ability to connect to that higher knowledge. But we need to learn how. We need to learn how to understand and hear the messaging that's in that higher knowledge. And what I'm hearing is that when you stop and wait and give yourself time before you respond to a situation, it allows you to actually access that higher knowledge. It allows you to actually collect, is the word I just heard, what you need to collect. I know I've told this story before, but it just came up to my mind to tell you, so I'll tell you again. I had a student once who was very severe on the ADHD spectrum, but also very, very, very brilliant, very smart. I just want to tell you that there is a giant line of geese that is flying south right now above my house. Most of them have gone, so I'm not sure where these latecomers are coming from, but this giant V of geese just went flying over. Little gift for us, right? Power of pause, power of rest, right? Geese, they fly in a V so that the leader takes the aerodynamics, takes the wind more, and everyone else can kind of have a little bit of ease, and then they take turns being the leader. So power of rest. But back to my little friend. So I had this little person who severe on the ADHD spectrum or scale, but brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And one time I was asking him, we were doing a little Mother's Day activity, and I asked him, what do you think your mom's favorite color is? I often personally don't like asking favorites because I know for myself, I have a really hard time going, well, it's what I like right now, but tomorrow I might like something different. Or is it my favorite color to wear or my favorite color to look at? I go into a little, so I usually say, what color do you think she'd really like? Anyway, he was like, and really struggling to come up with something. And so I asked him, what's happening right now in your brain? What's happening that you're having trouble thinking of an answer? And he said that he felt like he was in a whirlpool and all of the answers were swirling around with him and he couldn't quite reach them because he was in the whirlpool with them. And I said, well, what if you put yourself in the center of that whirlpool and just reach out for the first answer you get and take a look at it. And if it's the one you want, take it. And if not, you can put it back and pick another one. And so that was our strategy. And I'm hearing that right now, that sometimes by allowing ourselves to pause before we answer, we're not swirling in that whirlpool, that tumbleweed, that whatever. We can actually put ourselves in the center, pull out an answer. Is that the one we actually want? Keep it. If not, throw it back and choose something else. We have that time. And that goes back to the beginning messaging in that it's okay to make mistakes. You don't have to have all the right answers right from the start. It's okay to say, let me think about that. It's okay to feel, let me think about that. It's okay to say, I have no idea what I want to do right now. I need time to figure it out. It's okay not to know. It's okay to give yourself time. And I'm hearing that this is an important message for some of you that are feeling very much like you need to have answers right now, right now. It's okay to give yourself time to think. Even I just heard, because I heard kind of a rebuttal. It was like, what if I don't have time? What if I need to do this right now? And it's like, even in crisis, now luckily I have not been in very many crises where I had to think fast on my feet, but even in a crisis, we think fast, but it's not frantic. It's not frenetic. The people that are the best in crisis are the ones that are able to just survey and figure out, this is what we need to do, and it's not the frenetic energy. So even if it is feeling like a crisis, pausing, looking around, taking a moment, connect to your higher self, connect to that higher wisdom. What is it I need to do? And allow yourself that moment to stop, breathe, survey the situation. Will allow you to be more cognizant in those next steps, more conscious in your next steps. Harder to do than it is to say, that's for sure, especially if we're feeling a little bit pressured and frantic. But I'm going to make a solid commitment to trying to pause when I'm feeling a bit frantic, when I'm feeling a bit rushed and I gotta quickly respond. I'm going to make a solid effort to just pause and check in with that triage. Is this something I really need to deal with right now, or can it wait? And also give myself pause to connect to that higher part of myself that knows how to respond to things, as opposed to out of habit, out of pattern, out of those types of things. Something to think about. Just checking the chat here. Hello, Melinda. All right, Carolina, thank you. I always take a sip of tea and then poof, up comes Carolina's summary. You're amazing. So it's okay to take our time responding. Stop, breathe, take time to connect to yourself, to your higher self, to divine. This gives you time and opportunity to collect, to gather, to sort out from what's inside us. Absolutely. Taking a pause, giving yourself time is okay. Even in crisis, when feeling frantic and pressured, take pause, connect, survey to figure it out. Fabulous. Thank you. Even right now, I find when I'm doing these lives, I'm trying to get as much messaging out, because I know when I get to the individual stuff, I sometimes can't get to everybody, and I always feel really bad when I can't get to everybody. I always try my best to get to everybody. And so I realize, what, I'm doing a disservice when I do that. I think, it's also okay for me to just pause and take my time with the messaging, and I'll get through as many as I can get through, and then we'll be back again next week. All right. Any other messaging today for the group? So, something that's been happening recently, and this is new for me, is song lyrics, snippets will come into my head when I'm going okay, what's next? And I actually don't even know. I don't even know the song that this is, but the words were "You're only human after all." You're only human after all. But that's what I just heard is that we are trying always to do our best, and and it's go, and we are human, and human means that we need to rest, that we get stressed, that we have some limitations, maybe cognitive limitations, maybe physical limitations, and that is part of our journey, and that is part of who we are, and it's okay to work within those limitations and give pause. We are only human after all, right? All right. Any bit of extra messaging for my friends? All right. I got an image of like a paper clip holding a bunch of papers together. What does that mean? Sometimes when I try and put my own messaging on it, I get this wall of no, just listen. And that's what I got. I was trying to be like, maybe it means this, maybe it means this. And I got this no, just listen. So paper clips, what's that? Okay. So what this is about is that, kind of a sense of humor. There is an organization that we are sometimes not even aware of, that things connect to other things and things belong together with other things that we're not even fully aware of until after. So hindsight 2020, then you're like, oh, right, I did this and that connected to this, and that's part of this, and this is part of this whole package, right? So what I'm hearing is if we are rush, go, trying to do everything, we're going to miss some of the pieces of this package, and that they actually are all connected in a certain way that when completed, tell a complete story. They have all the pieces for a complete story. But if we're rush, and we don't allow ourselves to settle into some of those things, it can just get messy. That we have to trust that there is some divine organization to everything. All right. So got my paper and my pencil, my pen. All right, I'm going to start writing down some names. So Gloria, Jem, Anna, Carolina, Maggie, oops, hold on, Melinda, Jamie, Jocelyn, are you putting your name in for a reading or just saying hello? Kate, Linda. All right, Jocelyn, I got you down. Jocelyn. All right, we got fewer people here today, so maybe I'll actually get to everybody. Lisa, Jovita. Oh, better spell that where I can read it. Awesome. All right, is that everybody for today? Kate, I got you already. So I have Gloria, Jem, Anna, Carolina, Maggie, Melinda, Jamie, Kate, Linda, Jocelyn, Lisa, Jovita, Elisa. All right. Perfect. Then let's get started. Here we go.